everyone, Jules here. Today I want to do a follow-on video from last week when I was talking about the astrological correspondences and the tarot, and I thought it might be a good idea to do an introduction to Kabbalah and explain a bit more about the astrological correspondences with the tarot and how they fit into Kabbalah. Now, if you can see to the side of me over near the wall here, I have a model of the Kabbalah, of the diagram of the Kabbalah actually looks like. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Kabbalah, that's what it generally looks like. And I'm also going to talk about some general reference books as a good introduction to explain some of the basics where Kabbalah and tarot come together with the astrological correspondences for the cards, and then it might make a bit more sense for everyone out there, everyone watching. So what I'm going to do here is showing you a diagram of the Kabbalah, and that is the general Kabbalah model. And what it actually is a form of Jewish mysticism that the Golden Dawn adapted for Kabbalah, for the tarot. And what they did with the major arcana was they took the traditional Jewish Kabbalah and placed the 22 major arcana on each of these 22 paths, these white paths that you can see here. So they created correspondences for each of the tarot major arcana for these paths. There's 22 of these white paths. And these coloured circles here are called the Sephirah of the Kabbalah, numbered from 1 to 10. And this is where the 10 pips or minor arcana are placed. And they were also given astrological correspondences as well. And this is what the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn worked with, and also what Arthur Edward Waite and Crowley worked with as well. And that is why they created their decks with the correspondences in order to work with the Kabbalah. So they used the Kabbalah for spiritual development and ritual and sometimes ceremonial magic. So that's a model of the Kabbalah. And sometimes the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn actually spelt that with a Q instead of a K. You usually see Jewish Kabbalah spelt with a K, but the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn often put a Q in front of that instead of a K to denote that it was Hermetic Kabbalah. Hermetic Kabbalah that the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn worked with was a combination of the Kabbalah with Hermeticism, which is an esoteric philosophy that they also believed in, worked with, and the two things came together, Hermeticism and Kabbalah. So that's the model of the Kabbalah. And I'm going to give you some reference books, including the one that this diagram is in. It's called Kabbalah by Tim Dedopoulos, and I will put all of the details under the video so that you will be able to look into these books if you want to. this is just further information for anyone interested out there who wants to have a look at the correlation of the tarot cards with Kabbalah. And this is a really good general book for the history of the Kabbalah, how it came to be associated with tarot cards, with the Golden Dawn, what the Kabbalah signified before that, because before that it was a form of Jewish mysticism, and it still is today. But this is a very good book to give you the history of the Kabbalah and how the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn adapted that for the tarot. And yeah, that's a really good general book for everyone who's interested in the history of that. Now, the other books I'm going to mention are, this is a great book. This is called The Kabbalah Experience by Naomi Osnick. It's published by Watkins. It should still be available, I'm sure. It's a fantastic book. It is illustrated with the Waite deck in black and white, but it gives the correspondences, it gives lots of information of how the Kabbalah works as a system with the tarot. It's a very good book, very thorough, and it's a great general guide, but it gives you lots of information that you could just take a long time to work through at your leisure. You could just do chapter by chapter whenever you want, and it's just a great reference book for anyone who wants to have a look at how it all fits together. So that's the Kabbalah Experience by Naomi Osnick, and I'll put the details below the video. And there's a handbook that goes with that book that's called the Watkins Tarot Handbook. This may not still be in publication, in print, also by the same author, Naomi Osnick. You don't have to have this book. The Kabbalah Experience is available. It probably is enough, but for those who would like to try to get this, it's Watkins Publishing as well. The Watkins Tarot Handbook also mentions the Kabbalah and the correspondences and information as well. And the last book is, this is the Thoth Companion. This is for people who want to have a look at the Thoth deck and how it works with Kabbalah. The other two books by Naomi Osnick are to do with the Waite deck, but if you want to have a look at the Thoth deck and how that works in Kabbalah, this is the Thoth Companion, published by Llewellyn. This is still available, written by Michael Osiris Snuffin, and this is a very accessible book too. Yeah, it's very good, and it gives a good general idea of how the Thoth deck also works with Kabbalah. Okay, so I'm going to put all the details below the video for anyone who's interested in those books, and I'm just giving a general idea today of what the Kabbalah is. It's a form of Jewish mysticism, and it's got a long history, and the books that I have that I have mentioned, particularly this one, gives you a good idea of how that all fits together. And the Kabbalah Experience mentions some history and things like that too, of how it all fits together as well. So I hope that was helpful for people. It's a general introduction for just anyone who's interested, because this is a follow-on video from last week. Those books, by the way, not this one. This one is the general history of the Kabbalah, but the other two books by Naomi Osnick and the Thoth Companion, they specifically mention the tarot and Kabbalah, although this one mentions the history of that as well. But the other books mention specifically the cards and how they fit in with Kabbalah. So that's for people who are interested in what I mentioned last week. You would already know that you do not have to know about Kabbalah to work with the tarot. It works perfectly well without that. But this is just for people who want that background, who want to look into the Kabbalah to see if they would like to combine that with their tarot practice and get a general idea. Even if you just want to get this Kabbalah book that mentions the history of Kabbalah and how that all fits in, if you'd like to know the background of that, that's good as well. But I just thought I would talk about that today to give you a few reference books in case you're interested in looking into that further. So as I was saying, I will give you the details for those books below the video, and you can decide whether you'd like to look into that further. So I hope that's a bit more helpful to you. There are some good books around, but I have recommended these books because I think they give you a good general introduction. They're a bit more accessible. There are some more complex books out there that I think are not clear enough in outlining the system of Kabbalah and how the tarot cards are assigned to the different parts of the Kabbalah. And in my opinion, these are the better books to look at, the books that actually have that combination of Kabbalah and tarot. There are books out there that just talk about Kabbalah, but what I want to recommend are the books that have the tarot and Kabbalah, so you could see how the system works together and how the astrological correspondences were created by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn to work in with Kabbalah. And when you look at the Kabbalah, you'll be able to see that when you read these books, you will be able to see that the astrological correspondences were created completely with the Kabbalah in mind, and that is what the intention of that was all about, what that was for. So I hope that's helpful to everyone, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.